There we go. A weekly thumbs up from Jake. That means we're all good to go. It's very much a thumbs down, the topic we're talking about this week on A Podful of Saints +2 with myself, David Tavener, Jake Ellacott, there, you saw his fun, and Lee Wood. Good evening, Lee.
Evening, Taz. How are you, my friend?
Oh, trying to get over it. You know what it's like. When you get dinked by a lower league opposition 6 times in the FA Cup since the turn of the century, you know, it gets you down. Anyway, and that's what we're going to mostly talk about tonight, I suspect, the FA Cup defeat on Monday night at Bishop Stortford. We're recording this on Tuesday the 27th. Jake and I were at the game, but you had a unique experience with it, really, Lee, because you saw it, a Norwich City match, live in a pub. Never happened before. For the first 2 minutes, 7 seconds, it must have been a great experience.
Yeah, the build-up was decent. It soon went sort of pear-shaped after that, didn't it? The atmosphere was really, really good. The fans came out in numbers. I know there were a good few pubs who were sort of showing the game as well, and they really sort of bought into it. You know, I know that sort of Spurs were playing as well, but the pub that we went into, the Victoria, really did make an effort to accommodate us all, and the result being the exception, it was a good evening.
There's what, about 20 of you there or more, I believe?
Oh, more than that. There's probably about 30 of us, all on our own little sort of bubbled tables. So yeah, it was really, really good. Yeah,
we had a slightly different atmosphere, didn't we, Jake? The first time we've been to a game this season where there's been a crowd. In fact, funny, 3 of us went on Saturday to see Harpenden Town, 5-4, defending the likes of which you never expect to see again until Monday night. Debut goalkeeper, Rihards, Matrovic. Oh, what a start. Most people would have seen it on TV or a clip somewhere. What a disaster for the lad, 21 years old.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe it as I was watching it. I was looking away to the right. I was like, "There's no danger there." Oh, here comes Darren Foxy. That'll be fine. Oh, that's in our net. How's that happened? I just couldn't believe it. It was just such an awful start, and then it just never recovered, did it? And it's just, I don't know, it just felt, I mean, I said to you, Dave, at the end, you know, after 15, 16 years, I should be used to this. And you said try 50. It just seems, it's just so St Albans City, isn't it? This happens to us live on TV in the big FA Cup game. And I do feel sorry for the lad in goal. Obviously brought in last minute to replace Michael Johnson. I thought it was really noticeable how there was just no communication at the back from the keeper. But overall, just, yeah, very poor. And we watched the second goal back at half time, didn't we? And it wasn't much better either. Obviously, Lee, you had probably a better view on the sort of highlights on TV, but from our position, it was just woeful defending on that whole right side.
Yeah, I mean, I managed to watch the game back this afternoon. The first goal, listen, that happens. It does happen. I think he sort of misjudged how much time he actually had. But the second goal, look, the attack has taken 3 touches to advance towards our net. He got his angles wrong. He got his position wrong. And listen, we can sugarcoat this as much as we like. He's cost us the game there tonight. And I know it's not an ideal situation for him, but he's a full-time keeper and he should be in a position to help us out. That's bad on his part.
He had a nightmare. No 2 ways about that. He didn't have much to do, really, apart from those 2 things. And you're right, that second one, instead of going big, he turned as the shot went in. He made it easier for the guy. And we don't want to keep putting him down, but it is. But it's not 100% his fault. In between those 2 goals, we had, 3 excellent chances. Mitchell Weiss hit a post. He should have scored. Got to hit the target from that range. And his second one, we should have been ahead before they got their second goal.
Yeah, we should have. And as I was watching it, I was like, well, this is, even though we're a goal behind, surely we're going to equalise soon enough. It just seemed to be all City for the first 15 minutes until that second goal. And then it just, yeah, like you said, for the first time this season, sort of our conversion lets us down in front of goal. Zane had one as well where he was possibly pulled back by all accounts from what I've heard from people watching on TV. But for that spell, even though we were behind, I wasn't too worried. And even after half time, I wasn't too worried because I thought we'd create those chances again. But sort of after that opening 15, 20 minutes, they just didn't come, did they?
That's interesting about the Zane Banton thing, because you and I are sitting next to each other and we didn't see anything amiss, but suddenly a load of City players congregated around the referee when he gave a corner. But TV, Lee, it was quite blatant, wasn't it?
It was stonewall, absolutely stonewall. The defender's got Zane's arm, pulling him back. He doesn't do that. Zane's on goal. And, I mean, I don't know what the referee hasn't seen. It was as blatant as you like. It wasn't even a subtle pull. He had his arm. He was pulling him back. We had chances. And I thought, the goals aside, we played really, really well. We attacked with purpose. We looked to get it out wide early. We looked to utilise the pace of Jeffers. And I just can't believe how we haven't scored in the first 20 minutes at least. Glorious, glorious chances. We had that really telling ball across the face of the box. Both of our strikers running towards the front post when one of them should have been peeling off. Then he's got a tap in. Listen, ifs and buts, but we should be having the quality of players to be at least putting one of those chances away and making a game of it.
Well, that penalty, maybe that's a difference of not having fans in the ground. If there had been 50 or 60 City supporters behind the goal going, penalty, and Haji Bola, the referee, he would have suddenly thought, hang on, maybe there was something there. But of course, it was just silence because there was a few Stortford fans behind the goal there. He didn't hear you like shouting down the Victoria, Lee. That was.
I'm surprised though, mate, because we did give it a fair old sort of row. But I mean, there were some hefty sort of tackles flying in, and there were some tackles from sort of Tom Bender, some good tackles from St Albans players. And as soon as one of those sort of players goes sort of down, all their fans are up in arms and they're baying for blood. The referee, I thought he did okay. There were a couple of really good tackles which got yellow cards, but then there was a tackle on St Albans City players which horrendous tackles, and they went unpunished. So I think the referee, listen, we can't blame him. You know, we're not out of the cup because of him, but I think it was very difficult for him to manage the situation with just one set of fans on his back.
I thought he did well to keep 22 players on the pitch because there were 4 tackles there, 2 on each side, where he could, as you say, he could have got the red card out. Did you pick up on those at all, Jake?
Yeah, we sort of really noticed the Bender and DG ones, didn't we? Obviously, they were very much in front of us. To be honest, my reaction to both, I thought they were both okay, but then some of my friends watching on BT Sport back at home did sort of react and go, oh, well, those might be red card challenges, but you never know. Lee, have we lost David?
We can only hope, mate. What's going on? Tabs?
Oh no, Tabs is gone forever.
Well, it's the good old days then. It's me and me. Oh, mate.
But well, we'll continue on while he's gone. I thought for me that second half we just didn't come out, did we? And that has really got me and really disappointed me after the game and even today. It's just there seemed to be no drive after half time.
It was embarrassing at certain points. It was just, I don't know. We had quite a lot of the ball in the first half. And second half, I thought we were outplayed. We were outthought as well. There seemed to be no drive. And for some reason, we just seemed to panic a bit too early.
Yeah.
There was that long, pointless ball. And I don't know whether we could have changed the shape better. I didn't understand the substitutions either, to be fair. They really did baffle me. If you're struggling to make a breakthrough, surely you want your best players, but maybe change the formation, change the tactics slightly. We didn't quite do that, and I'm not entirely sure why. But as you say, I listened to Ian's post-match. Yes, you have to give Stortford some sort of credit. They got plenty of men behind the ball, but even so, we made it very easy for them in our decision-making and just the way we played. Second half, very, very poor.
Yeah, you mentioned those substitutions. I was quite surprised to see Weiss and Bantam come off, actually. I know they'd both been quiet during the second half, but so had everyone. But during the first half, I thought those two were our real outlets. And if there was anyone that was going to create a chance or put it on a plate for Jeffers, etc., I thought it was going to be those two. So I was surprised by those. And I did think as well, I wondered if he made the substitutions slightly too late. Just from a fan perspective, I thought 2-0 down, 60 minutes gone, make the change now, even if it's just one. Throw someone exciting on, whoever it is, and see whether you can make that change. But I thought leaving it to 70 minutes didn't give us much time to change things, the momentum of the game. And obviously, you know, the injuries as well, of course. We're missing Michael Johnson and David Noble. I thought Noble was a big miss, actually. Away at Concord, I thought when we were down to 10 men, he sort of controlled that game in the final 20 minutes, even with 10 men. And I thought if he'd come on with that final 20 minutes to go, could he have done something?
To be fair, though, mate, as good a player as Nobby is, the fact that we were just bypassing the midfield in the first place, I'm not entirely sure what sort of impact he would have had. Ian sort of said himself in his post-match, we resorted to long throws, to long balls. I'm not entirely sure how much impact he would have had if he was on the pitch.
Yeah.
So I just think it was just, listen, as you say, it's disappointing. We were on the telly. We were in the shop window. We've been bigging it up on social media all week.
Yeah.
And then we go and put in a performance like that in the second half, especially.
Yeah, obviously we saw that Johnson's a big miss. We've known that he's been an important signing this summer. Hopefully he'll be back for Saturday. But looking forward to Saturday briefly, do you think we should go with the lad from last night again, or bring in one of the kids from the youth side that played during the summer?
I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, to be fair, he must be feeling pretty sort of low right now, and quite rightly. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what sort of message it sends to players if you have one bad game and then suddenly you're out.
Yeah.
I mean, I would start. I mean, if Ian's got the confidence to start him in an FA Cup game, then surely he deserves another chance.
Yeah.
He's not a bad player, obviously, because he's where he is, but he had a bad game last night and it cost us. So maybe give him another chance to help rectify and sort of get us 3 points.
Yeah. And of course, before the game, we had the draw for the first round. Yeah. What did you think of it? Obviously, taking away the result last night, what did you think? What was your reaction to it?
It wasn't one of the glamour ties, was it? Let's face it. I just think, I mean, the fact is now that you can't have any fans in the first round. Sort of put a little bit of a dampener on it, really. I know that the government and the FA have now changed the money and how it sort of gets allocated, which is good. The draw is what it was, mate. I mean, the fact of the matter is we're talking about something that doesn't even concern us now, which is the more disappointing fact, isn't it, really? Yeah, absolutely. Brackley, okay, would have been a decent tie for us.
It would have been. It would have been. And I think David has returned after that. Where'd you go, Dave? Do you need the loo?
There's something more desperate than that, I think. I missed anything. Did we win last night?
Yes, it went really well. So I think we've just about finished the match.
Right, okay, see you next week. This, Lee, was this one of yours, Lee?
Sorry?
Was this one of your contraptions, this thing?
No.
I wonder who designed it. Is it Happy Days, wasn't it? I thought we were going to get closer to the second round again last night, but it wasn't to be.
No.
Right, you two finished with last night, yeah?
Quickly, David, what did you think of the social distancing at Stortford?
Well, I don't know if you touched on it, but you mentioned it last night. We spoke about it. In the stands, they put those sections there to block it off, which makes sense in a way to stop people congregating. But of course, it then makes the space they have got smaller. Yeah. So they were all congested. It was unavoidable. It's like many things to do with the COVID space restrictions. What seems a good idea, it doesn't work in practice.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of people message me going, watched it on TV, and it was a bit of a ridiculous situation, meant to be no, all this social distancing, etc. And then sort of it just seemed to be a bit of a malarkey, really. Sort of there was no regulation at all.
Because one of the things about last night, we thought we had the honour of being at the last game in the FA Cup this season that would have a crowd. But I noticed in Scotland tonight, they're again talking about reintroducing fans to games. We don't know when, no time frame or anything. So maybe that will filter down south of the border before the final.
Yeah, I suspect probably in the new year. Obviously, a lot of it depends on if the government wants to continue that funding, which I know we're going to get onto in a minute. But I would not be surprised if fans do return in the new year purely just because of pressure, I think, at the minute.
I think it's going to depend on how the virus carries on through winter, because that's supposed to be the worst time, isn't it, during the cold weather?
Yeah. But you know, we're not experts, are we, on anything really?
And nothing at all.
No.
But you mentioned Darren Foxy, of course, a former Saint, 15 appearances last season, 1 goal, and his final game for us, of course, was against Bishop Stortford in the Hart Senior Cup, and that was on November the 5th, where he certainly set off the fireworks last night.
Very good. Wow, you spent too much time around Nocky again.
It's terrible, isn't it? Yeah. Thanks so on, Pete. Oh, talking of Pete, sitting over there somewhere is that figure, a footballer figure. Roger Taylor, you are correct. It was your brother's. It's a heavy blooming thing, lump of metal. He got from a newsagents in Edgware years ago, and he took it home and painted it in St Albans colours from 1920s, as you would do.
I like it.
Yeah, it suits
Very
you,
nice.
Dave.
Which showed more movement than most things last night.
Oh, hey, very good.
Jake, did you say something about a £10 million handout? We moved on to that.
Yes.
We did say a couple of weeks ago there's going to be arguments, and which one of you two want to pick up on them? Because there have been arguments about it.
Well, yeah, I think the first thing that was a surprise to me was it's actually coming from the National Lottery, isn't it? It's not actually directly from government. So that was a surprise. And then it seems to be an announcement last week, which was very much forced upon every club in the National League that wasn't on the board. That you've got these funds and that's it, and there's no arguing, and you're happy with them. And if not, well, what can you do about them? So I know that Maidstone released quite a strong statement, and a few other clubs. Yeah, Lee, what have you heard?
I've spoken to a few of the chairmen now. I know that Chester in particular as well weren't happy about it. But you've got to think on the flip side of that, there've got to be some clubs there who are absolutely rubbing their hands. You know, 30 grand a month. I mean, they weren't going to be getting that in any other sort of match day scenario. I think the clubs have just got to be a little bit realistic in the expectations of what they're going to be getting. I know that Lawrence has been trying to get the picture across that we are as COVID safe as we can. And I know that all the volunteers and all the people down there have been doing fantastic work at Clarence Park. But the problem is, it can't be one rule for us and one rule for everyone else. You know, everyone's in the same boat. Just because we can hold games safely doesn't mean that everyone else can. But obviously, if we can hold games, then do we get a share of that pie? Do we get our £30,000 if we can have a match day experience? You know, there's so many different scenarios there. I know the Dagenham chairman's got one view. I know the Wrexham chairman's got another view. I know the board members of the National League have got a view as well. They're all different. They're all varied, mate. And I don't think it's an exact science. You're not going to please everyone. But I do think that most clubs have to be realistic in what they can genuinely expect to get.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that in the National and the 2 divisions below that, some clubs are getting more than others because they are well supported, allegedly. So they're getting a larger share. Should it not be for something like this? We're all in the same thing together. So everybody in that division gets one amount, and the 2 divisions below, understandably, get less. And we all get one flat amount. It doesn't take into consideration all the things which the chairman have been moaning about, or pointing out if you prefer. But that would be a possible fair solution. But it's not going to happen anyway, so it doesn't matter.
That would possibly be slightly fairer than the way it has been, as you say. But it's just the amount of arguing is gonna continue. It's not going to change. Like Lee mentioned, some clubs, you know, some in our division, especially the likes of Hungerford and Concord, will be absolutely delighted with this. I mean, me and Dave, we spoke last week. Very well, almost immediately after the announcement, Concord straight onto their social media saying we're offering all fans season ticket refunds, because obviously now Concord Rangers have not got the financial pressures, and they can hand that money back and very comfortably run on the money they've been given. Whereas Dulwich Hamlet, I mean, what are they really gaining from an extra 6k a month compared to everyone else in the division, considering how much bigger their crowds are? So as you say, it's a very sensitive subject. It's very difficult to really work out how to do it. And the arguments are not going to go away, especially if fans still can't return in January.
The one thing I would say is that some of the bigger clubs do have sort of community projects which they would allocate that money to. But again, it's how is one club any more worthy of that $6,000? You know, it's the fact that they've worked it out to be some clubs have got this, some clubs have got that. As you said there, Tabs, you know, would it be just a whole lot easier to know what you're going to be getting just because you're in that league?
Yeah.
Talking of money, of course, in the FA Cup last night, even though we lost, we picked up another 3,125, which takes us up to just over 12,000 we got from the Cup. And it's rumoured that we're picking up 5,000 from the TV as well. So it's 17,000 extra from the FA Cup this year. You shouldn't use it in your budget, so that should be extra money, really.
Yeah, I think it's going to be really important with that extra money this season.
And a share of a gate last night, as you pointed out when we were coming home, of course.
Sorry, Lee, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, you know, I know that events are different year on year, but if we get a certain X amount from Cup games, it doesn't always necessarily mean that's going to be going into Ian's budget. It just means the owners have to put that amount less in every single year. It would be good to obviously reinvest into the side, but I think Ian's quite happy with his team, if I'm honest. One thing I would sort of say, taking Jeffers out of the equation, a comment that a fan behind me made last night, he thought we look a little bit light in the strike force once you take Jeffers off. Something a bit different. I know I went out to the pub with our friend Ian Hall, friend of the podcast, Absolute Scenes. He said maybe someone like the Jefferson Louis type stature, something that offers a bit different. So maybe if there is money to be spent from the Cup run, reinvested back into the side, maybe someone like that.
It's funny, actually. The attack, apart from those few shots which Mitchell Weiss had, the attack was virtually invisible last night. And taking Jeffers off didn't make an awful lot of difference. He unfortunately had not contributed up till then. 2 great goals against Ebbsfleet and a couple against Hitchin. One was a penalty, of course. But in between, he'd had a quiet spell. So it looks like you are going to get quiet games with him and others where he's going to be your match winner. What you need is another goal scorer alongside him. Is Mitchell Weiss that man? Maybe time will tell. And of course, that's going to now bring us on to the team itself. It's too early to look at chucking players out, bringing players in, but it's how they bounce back from this. It was concerning with some of the signings we were getting were mostly below our level, 1 or 2 from our level. And for them to have a start they had surprised a lot of people. I don't know about you two, but it did surprise people. And the football they've been playing up until last night had been pretty good. They've now got to prove they can do it again.
Yeah, they do. And it's going to be tough, but we have to remember, I mean, we have had a good start to the season, much better than most of us expected. We have to be realistic about that. It's only 1 defeat. I mean, that's our first defeat since February, isn't it? Early March. Obviously, you know, slight pandemic in the middle. But yeah, it's been a long time. And we have played well, and there's been a lot of positivity in the squad as well. That's been notable for me. The staff and the players seem really positive and happy. They've shown some good resilience against Ebbsfleet and Concord. So we just need to see that again. But it is going to be hard, you know, for the squad to bounce back. Like you said, Dave, it's a team made up of a lot of players that aren't necessarily experienced to this level, apart from a couple of youngsters as well in there. So I think Ian's going to have his work cut out over this week. And, you know, Chippenham is certainly not an easy game either.
All I would say, certainly. Sorry, I was just going to say that one bad result doesn't make a season. And I've been quite impressed by the collaborations and the partnerships that have been forging inside the sort of team. And listen, the goalkeeper's had a little bit of a brain fart last night and he's cost us the game. But we've got some good players, some excellent players, and I'm looking for a response now. You know, as you say, Saturday's game isn't going to be easy, but I think the players will be back up for it and to sort of show that last night was just a little bit of a blip.
It was our first defeat of the season, because you're dead right there. But when you can look at the FA Cup, we had 3 games against lower league opposition, and we actually only won one of them. One of them was decided on penalties. So it's a bit of a pointer there to say maybe this side has got a little way to go yet.
Possibly, although I think both you and I agree, Dave, watching that game, that Middlesbrough are actually a very good side, footballing wise. They may have not created much, but they certainly, I think, deserve to take the tie to penalties in the end, just in the way they played football, especially their central midfield as well. They had a couple of players that really impressed us. So it's always hard to base things upon, the FA Cup and who you're playing, etc. But I think in the league, we've certainly not established ourselves, but we've certainly impressed other people with our start. And I'd rather be in our position than, say, for example, Hemel Hempstead's.
It's fun, isn't it? Because on the way there, when we were talking about it, we thought we go for 4-4-2 because Tom Bender's, I think, has had some of his best games in central defence at the start of this season. So it surprised us when Ian only went for 3 at the back.
Yes, it did us. I thought he'd start Tom Bender at centre half. I thought that made sense alongside Joy McKenna, and throw in Luke Warner-Reilly at left back. But obviously, he didn't fancy that. And I think it would have been, it's what I would have gone for. But again, we don't get paid to make these decisions, I suppose.
Just as well, really.
Yeah. Can you imagine how awful we'd be?
Yes. Yes is the answer.
Chippenham's record, league game so far, played 3, won 2 against Braintree and Dulwich for 2 wins, and got thrashed on the opening day at Hungerford. Where's it going to go? Who knows? I think they're playing Dartford tonight, according to my fixture list there, if that's correct.
Yes, I think there's a couple of league games tonight, isn't there? So, yeah, but Chippenham, there's no easy games in this division. We know that, and Chippenham are cliche central over here. But Chippenham, a tough side. We went down there last season, I think February, didn't we? In the midst of a decent run we had, and sort of lost fairly weakly in the end, and it's going to be difficult.
Yes, because there's no easy games, Jake. You're dead right. Hear that again. I'm going to pull your microphone out of its socket. Oh, by the way, that was our 100th defeat in the FA Cup last night.
Oh, brilliant. Cheers, Dave.
Add insult to injury, that is, Tabs.
If anyone's looking for a celebration. There were a couple of league games last Saturday. Chelmsford won with a penalty against Maidstone. Hungerford lost for the first time, conceded goals for the first time, 3-2 at Ebbsfleet after twice being ahead. I thought last night was going to go to penalties. I didn't think we were going to lose. And it would have been a good night to play Maidstone because they missed 2 penalties on Saturday. Well, I'm running out of things here to say. Anybody else got anything of interest?
How did Hemel get on at the weekend?
Oh, that's true. We haven't done the FA Cup results, have we? we lasted 2 days longer in the Cup than they did, didn't we?
We did. I believe our friends Hemel lost 1-0 against Eastbourne. So it's an improved result for them, actually. It wasn't 4-1. So, happy days for the Tudors.
Don't upset your mate, Alan Mitchell.
Oh, he'll message me later. Oh, dearie me. Yeah, not necessarily happy days at Vauxhall Road at the moment, but I'm sure they'll turn things around.
There were a few other cup games at the weekend. Haven't a good 3-0 win at Bath.
Yes, and they got quite a generous draw, didn't they, in the first round?
Cray Valley Paper Mills at home. Funny, we brought them up a few times. I thought we were going to get a chance to shred their cup dreams, but obviously not. And frequently mentioned Chippenham tonight, lost at Concord. Concord turned into one heck of a cup side.
They are indeed. And they got quite a decent draw in the end. Neil Metcalf is delighted with it. I believe Concord are travelling into Stevenage Borough, Stevenage Town, whatever they're called these days.
Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah.
See, that's the Tabs we know and love. Yeah. That's the spirit we need on this podcast. Excellent.
What about Eastbourne? Beat Dulwich, home to Blackpool. What a draw.
That's a good chance of being on TV as well, isn't it? And the first round TV money really does jump. So for clubs like Eastbourne, well, for clubs at every club at our level, you get a plum TV draw in the first round, and you've got a great chance of reinvesting this season.
Well, we missed out on the home tie against Brackley, also on the away tie with Brackley, which not too exciting, I must admit, for either club. Hemel have missed out with a home tie, having lost at home to Hampton, home tie at Oldham Athletic.
Yes, indeed. And Hampton faced Oldham Athletic, I think, just 2 years ago. So Hampton will be delighted. Of course, we know they're a club that, I think that Oldham tie a couple of years ago got them quite a bit of money in terms of, I think they were live on BBC. So they'll be hoping that they can maybe get another nice bit of TV exposure again in this round.
Terrific result for Oxford City, winning at 3-2 at Weymouth, and now they've got an almost local derby, home to Northampton Town. Very good draw again. Well, good draws if you can get big crowds behind you and whatnot. But of course, it's an even playing field really now.
It is this year. I suppose the only appeal is that TV money, isn't it? Because otherwise, you know. But I think, Lee, didn't you mention the FA have sort of balanced out the money a little bit for this first round?
Yeah, I think they said that they were going to offer 25% of the money now to the away side, which is the very least that they could have done. I don't think they really sort of thought that out, did they, when they sort of first announced the allocation of the money? It's just very weird. But now they've seen sense. They realise that everyone needs a little bit of that to help them. So fair play.
Why isn't it 50-50?
Well, no, but it was like allocated a little bit more, wasn't it? So, but
okay.
The fact is now that you've got no crowds, you know, it was just absolutely bizarre. And beforehand, we were looking at the idea of sort of going to a big sort of game and all of that, or maybe get a smaller game where we can actually sort of go to, but we can't even have that now. So, any more money coming to both sets of fans is going to be beneficial.
Right, one other non-league, National League South side left in the competition. Tunbridge Angels, 5-0 winners over Taunton, who we had a little problem with a couple of years ago. And they've got a good tie as well. Well, inferior good tie, home to Bradford City, but no crowd.
Well, it's a long old way for Bradford, isn't it? All the way down to Tonbridge on a Saturday or Sunday, whenever it is, thanks to TV. So,
well,
could be...
Blackpool to Eastbourne is fairly long.
Yeah, that's too. Yeah. All these places up north, aren't they all the same? Neil's gonna have a go at me for that.
Well, that's assuming they're allowed out to play. They might not be allowed out, might they?
Oh dear me! But I mean,
that is a sweeping generalisation of anywhere north of Milton Keynes. Here, you're living very, very dangerous lives.
Yeah, we are. But I mean, these clubs will be delighted to get these draws though, because they've just got that chance of featuring nationally and getting that money in, and especially when there's a guarantee of no crowd. I think they'd much rather someone like Bradford City at home than Brackley away.
I was going to say, because the Tunbridge game has got to be earmarked for sort of TV, isn't it? You know, that's got a nice little proper FA Cup feel to it.
Yeah, and of course, you know, the way this season is going, I'm sure there's a chance of quite a few upsets. You know, football this season seems to be thrown onto its head, so you just don't know how it's going to go.
From our point of view, the season almost grinds to a halt again after Saturday, because we now haven't got a game on the 7th of November. So we've got another break there. Well, we've got a midweek one afterwards, and the season just doesn't seem to get going, does it? A late start and hiccups all the way.
Yes, it's not what you sort of dreamed of, was it? You know, last year when you're thinking about, oh, we were still unbeaten in the league in October, the end of October. Well, when you put it into context, it's not really much at the minute. I mean, we did talk on the way back, Dave, that maybe we'll move the game against Braintree to next Saturday. Hopefully that would make sense. But yeah, it's sort of ground to a halt, and then we've got to wait for the FA Trophy draw now and to see who we get in that. So just need to, well, it's just on Saturday. It's just about getting momentum back again, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Talking of getting things back again. Well, would you do the pub experience again, Lee?
I thought it was excellent. I really, really did. I thought it was amazing. The amount of family, we saw fans there that I hadn't seen in a good few years. They bought into it, Tabs, you know. It was really good. City were on the telly. I know that we featured a few games during our conference time in Setanta and all of that, but this was on BT Sport. The pub was absolutely heaving, and I've had sort of pictures from sort of Clarence Park, from sort of friends who've gone down there to watch it on the big screens as well. The pub way, I mean, seriously, but also we could have all just sat home and watched it, but we thought, you know what, let's help out a local business as well. And it was just, I liked it. It was just a shame, because if we'd have won, that would have really, really sort of capped off a really good evening for City. It really would.
You've helped out quite a few local businesses in the evenings down the years, haven't you?
Hey, listen, I do my bit, mate. I do my bit. It's absolutely fine.
Oh, dearie me.
Right. Do you want to do a prediction for Saturday, either of you?
I'll go first. I'm going to say 2-1 Saints.
You've said 2-1 every game, Jake. Lee's going to say 4-0.
I've not done too well with this prediction, Malarkey. I'm going to go for it. I think I'd like a response. I'm going to go 2-1 as well, actually.
All right. How big is this fence we're all sitting on?
What are you predicting,
Got to be
Dave?
pretty strong, mate, to hold me. I know that.
No comment.
No. Right, well, I might as well let you two end it because the camera doesn't want to pick me up tonight by the looks of it. Which is not a bad move, really, given this shirt I got on. You must have been sitting in a box for 20 odd years, and God, it stinks more than I do.
Is it Knockies?
Yeah, it's worse than that. Or maybe not.
Deary me. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us, Dave. It was nice for you to come back. We did miss you. Thanks to everyone that's been watching and listening, and yeah, make sure to subscribe to the what's your channel name again, Dave?
Chillick, spelt Childwick, as in Chillickberry, between St Albans and Harpenden, where Sir John Blundell Maple lived, of course, who donated Clarence Park to the good people of St Albans in 1894 on July 23rd.
That's exactly the answer I was looking for. So subscribe
On
to
that
that. Yeah. If you've got any comments or questions, etc., leave them under the video.
Keep it to yourself.
or tweet us. And yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us once again.
Thanks, fella. See you later.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.